Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Chiefs Digest live stream Q&A Tuesday. Hooray, hooray. It is Q&A day. Thank you, Luttrell. Yes, first day of mandatory minicamp is ongoing right now. And so here to answer your questions about everything that happened today. I know there's going to be some discussions about L'Jarius Sneed, it looks like already. How jacked Josh Simmons is. It was an interesting discussion today, and looking at that, Chiefs had a couple of tight ends in on for tryouts this week, and I think that is pretty notable because tight end has been a position of struggle. It's been a struggle bus for the tight ends. I feel like in the off-season workouts, Travis Kelce was back on Tuesday. Limited workout. He hasn't been taking part in most of the OTAs. He had been in at the very beginning, but wasn't there for any of the sessions open to the media in the last couple of weeks. But he was out there today for the mandatory mini camp. But like I said, the other tight ends have struggled. Kenny Yeboah, formerly Temple, finished up at Ole Miss. He spent 4 years with the Jets and has played a little bit. And then a big guy, 6'7", Mason Pline, went to Furman, spent some time with the 49ers and the Saints. He was back with the 49ers. He was in their mini camp, their rookie mini camp, on a tryout basis too. So he's still been kicking around. Big guy, like I said, 6'7", big target. So Chiefs are trying to find some solutions. They're looking to see if there's anything that they can figure out with tight end group to add some juice to it. So I'll probably just dive right into it and get into the questions tonight, and we'll see what kind of wandering scenic detours I take, but we'll try and keep it a little bit focused. Yeah, Luttrell noting that Simmons looking pretty jacked. He told us today that he was 285, maybe 290, wants to be 300 by the beginning of the season. Jesse Knoll over with The Athletic took a picture from last year from a Josh Simmons press conference and versus today. And I mean, there's like no body fat on that guy right now. I mean, he is totally jacked. Looked like he could probably take most edge rushers and just bend him into a pretzel and snap him over his knee. I don't know how a 285 left tackle takes on some big defensive ends and pass rushers and edge rushers, but man, he looks in shape. So I guess that's the problem. I don't know how he's going to add 300 pounds, get to 300 pounds rather, add another 10 or 15 pounds to get where he wants. But man, he's a big dude and he looks strong right now. First question about Sneed. What do you think about the signing? Luttrell's thinking he could be there to show the rookies how things are done in KC, help develop their big investment in the secondary. And I've noticed that seems to be a popular theory on the internet, that's the biggest reason why that the Chiefs have gone down this road. And I can't say it's a bad idea, amongst the other things that they no longer have. I mean, you don't have like a Deion Bush still around, and whoop, hit the wrong button. I was trying to adjust my face a little bit there. It's too zoomed in, but we're going to live with it, folks. Yeah, I need I'm Brown to come in and to get me on the straight and narrow. Yeah, I mean, he can be a good influence for that. Yeah, I get it. He's going to be the oldest guy pretty much in that room now, and one of the most experienced players in that room. It's still a bit of a odd addition to me. I don't honestly see how, with what the Chiefs are trying to get done and saving some pennies and pinching here and there where they can and going with young players. I mean, they have not done a lot of these reunions. They haven't done many of these this year, and with the money involved, it's a $5 million contract. I haven't seen the guarantees as of yet. Sounds like it's a lower cost deal, however, with a lot of incentives probably tied to playing time. But I'm trying to take it any other way than a mild indictment of what they've got right now at corner and just not being really satisfied with it. It's been inconsistent. There's no doubt about that. Mansour Delane is young and is going to make some rookie mistakes. And I think I can already see him learning a bit. Now, he did not practice on Tuesday, was out there watching and was on the field. He wasn't just merely watching from the sidelines. He was involved in on the field at least and watching and going through some mental reps and talking to some of his teammates. It looked like a precautionary thing. It didn't look like it was anything long term. We should find out from a little bit more from Andy Reid on Thursday to see how much he will share with us about Mansour's issues. But even with basically the top three at this point being Mansour, Noel Williams, and Christian Fulton, it's been an inconsistent top three. So, are you bringing in L'Jarius Sneed to fit into that rotation? I mean, it's been a few years. I mean, go back to 2023, the last time that L'Jarius Sneed was able to make it through an entire season, and the Chiefs did some load management there to get him through that season. I mean, they backed off of him in practice late in the season, and there were some weeks where if I recall, I think there were weeks where he just didn't practice at all as they were trying to get that knee into a place where he could play on game days, and there was some management to get there. Titans obviously didn't have as much success with it. The Chiefs know the knee, they know L'Jarius. And again, I think that at 29, with the issues that he's had the last couple of seasons, the state of that knee, I really get the feeling that if you want things to go well with L'Jarius, you're going to have to manage that, and you can't expect him to necessarily be a starter or for 17 games. Can he fill in here and there? Yeah, I mean, maybe give you a spot starter too, or just be a rotational piece. Yeah, but it's to me. I mean, you're squeezing out somebody. I mean, you're bringing in L'Jarius Sneed, and you're saying, okay, who's going to be the odd player out? I mean, where's the Mendoza line? Is it going to be Kevin Knowles? Right now, Melvin Smith has been a little bit ahead of Kevin Knowles to this point, so a long way to go, though. We'll see. This contract, even as small as it is, it's a contract that you would expect to make the team. So once again, we'll see what happens and where this team stands. Once the pads come on, once you get into training camp, there's a lot that can happen between now and then. But this seems like you want L'Jarius Sneed on this team somehow. And if it's just as leadership motivation, and maybe he's going to be a guy you want to try and fit onto the practice squad, it makes a lot of sense. But I don't know. It's sending the wrong message about the secondary to me. But if it is for leadership and mentorship, then that's a pretty important piece of the puzzle. ACC with the super chat. Thank you very much. And you move to the top with a super chat. So I appreciate that very, very much. What has stood out the most about Cyrus Allen's receiving ability, and how does he compare to Tyquan Thornton and Worthy? Great question. And this was a topic that, for these minicamp practices, the Chiefs, they have Mitch Holthus and Matt McMullen do an audio show during practice that has some interviews from the coaches, front office players, talk about some of the things that have been going on. And Cyrus Allen was a big topic on that today that we were listening to at practice. And they pointed out something that I've been seeing as well all along. I think we're all in agreement on this, is that Cyrus Allen is a proficient route runner. He's fully developed. There's not a lot of teaching that you've got to do with Cyrus Allen. He's a pretty well fully formed receiver. Now, are there things to work on? Yeah, everybody's got things to work on. They can, and it reminds me of going back to, Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill, when his offseason work, I mean, Tyreek wasn't a fully formed receiver when he came out. I mean, Cyrus Allen is a better receiver technically at this point than Tyreek Hill would have been in his career. Just Tyreek was a lot faster. But Tyreek also learned things. I mean, he learned route running. He had to pick it up. I mean, that's where Cyrus Allen's ahead of him. But even little things, that Tyreek picked up, like, just as far as how to maintain his speed through turns, how to, keep his acceleration, how to, get out of routes. And there's going to be little tricks of the trade that Cyrus is going to have to pick up to develop. But he's pretty proficient. I think his hands are really good too. That's something that's been impressed me, because he's pretty much caught everything. And if based on what I've seen right now, I would say, at least in this offseason program, ask me to grade hands, I would probably say Worthy and Allen are about tied. I mean, they're pretty close to each other. There might be some days that Allen's better, and maybe some days where Worthy's better, but they're really close. Taekwon's a little bit further down. Taekwon has some inconsistencies, and if Taekwon can just make the simple catch every single time, that would be a huge part of his development. I mean, he can make the difficult catches, but sometimes he struggles with the easy ones, and that can be frustrating. But I still think that, Taekwon's got some real skill in him. I'm sorry, I got a little dehydrated out on the practice field today, so I might be drinking a lot more water than usual. Um, but Allen's just, I mean, he's a good route runner. He finds separation. He gets open. That's the most important thing. Um, he's not the fastest guy. So that's where I, talk about how he's going to have to try and, learn over the years about how to pick up a little bit of speed, and especially in his cuts and his moves, and just the way he circles off his routes. You can pick up little things there that can make you a little faster on the field. And if he can add that, to his repertoire, he's going to be a really good receiver one day. So, um, I mean, I see Allen right now naturally being the number 4 receiver, being somebody who can fill in at least a couple of spots. I think the X and the slot make a lot of sense for him. I can see how he could probably play a little Z for Worthy too, although I think you'd like to have a little bit more speed there for the most part. But Allen's smart. I think, like I said, I mean, as a technical receiver, I think he and Worthy are pretty close. I think Taekwon has a little bit more to work to go to be a fully formed receiver. So in that regard, you might say that Allen is a little bit ahead of Taekwon, does not have Taekwon's speed. So that's a different ballpark. But I think these three guys kind of complement each other really well. And Allen has been one of the more impressive players, certainly one of the more impressive rookies in this group. It's a passing camp, so he gets the most opportunities to kind of shine. But the fact that we're talking about him in the Worthy and Taekwon, language, I think it's a big deal. So he's been impressive, ACC. I appreciate that's a great question, and I appreciate the super chat. Sorry, I'm struggling here with the tickle in my throat. I may have to cough here in a minute, so I'll try and find a way to mute myself. At least in the HD, you can see my eyes watering. Luttrell, can Clark please let the team use void years? Let's get a little risky, bring in some talent. The Rams make me jelly. I know. Casey got more rings, but still. I mean, the money gets spent either way. It really, I mean, I don't know that there's one way that's better than the other to do it. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, the way that the Chiefs do it as a pay as you go, essentially, where they try to keep their cash pretty close to what the salary cap is that year, and don't have years where they're blowing out with $350 million. I mean, there's no doubt that's a little bit of cash management there, but it's also a bit of their strategy that they just don't want to be in the situation that the Eagles are going to be at. And maybe the better way to put it is not yet, because I've always felt like the Eagles strategy, the way that they use their void years, they're maximizing a Jalen Hurts window, which is not as long, not as wide open as the Patrick Mahomes window. I mean, I think you're going to feel like, yeah, hey, the Patrick Mahomes window might be open in another 8 to 10 years, depending on how much he plays, how he stays healthy. But I mean, Jalen Hurts, I don't think is going to be the starting quarterback for the Eagles in 8 years. Patrick Mahomes could certainly still be winning football games for the Chiefs in 8 years. And, you're definitely, I mean, this Jalen Hurts window is going to close in a couple of years, because then they're going to hit some points where they're going to have some big numbers. They're going to be on debt on their books. And I mean, they've already have dead money in 2031. That's just crazy to me. But again, you can continue to steal from the future. That's really what it is. It's just you're borrowing cap money from the future in a different way. It all adds up eventually. But to me, like I said, I mean, the pay-as-you-go system for the Chiefs, it means there's a day of reckoning coming. But you can put that day of reckoning off. You can continue to push it down the road. There's going to be a time where the Chiefs are going to have to clean house and just take the big bite one year and restart. The Eagles are going to have to do that too. They're just going to have to do it sooner than the Chiefs. They're going to be doing it, but once again, they're just trying to maximize the time with their quarterback and his prime window. And the Chiefs are trying to do the same thing, and that's why they do it differently. Chris, does Snead even have enough to make it through training camp on the roster? I imagine there's still a little bit of juice in L'Jarius, and like I said, I mean the Chiefs have worked with him in that knee for a while, so they know how to manage it. That's where I think the advantage is that they had some history with it, and maybe that's why it will be more successful. I think they also know what they can do to push L'Jarius. And hey, if again, if your goal is to get 400 snaps out of him over 17 games or 15 games or however it is he plays, and you think you can milk him over the season and get that leadership out of him, maybe that's their plan. We'll hear a little bit from Andy Reid, and hey, again, it's you want to ask Brett Veach and Steve Spagnuolo the defensive player questions, but L'Jarius is enough of a bigger name that Andy's going to have some thoughts to share on Thursday about the reunion. Not that we're going to get a lot of depth on how they're going to use him and what the plan is, but we'll see. Nikki doesn't care about the Snead signing, just wants to hear about a wide receiver signing, and I don't know, Nikki. I'm going to be. I've been saying it, and I get more and more convinced of this every day. I'm going to be really surprised if the Chiefs end up investing any significant money in a wide receiver. They really seem pleased with what they've got at the top, and they really feel like that they've got some depth all the way down. I mean, on this team at wide receiver. Hey, if you can easily put together a 6 wide receiver lineup on this team that's got Nico Remigio as the 6th guy as a return specialist, and you would still be missing out on potentially Jason Brownlee, Jimmy Holiday. I know we got a lot of Jeff Copeland fans out there. I apologize. He's good. If he sticks around, he'll be on the practice squad. I tell you what, Andrew Armstrong has been really impressive to me. I think he's a second-year player from Arkansas. There's some Jacob DeJesus fans, all 5'7" of DeJesus. I mean, these aren't guys that are going to light the world on fire, but I mean, I get that the Chiefs have some talent of some guys that can be your 5th or 6th guys. And yeah, I mean, Jalen Royals might be your 5th guy, most likely. And I know we've got a question on him coming up from Dez. I saw that coming up. We'll get into Jalen Royals here in a little bit, but I mean, the Chiefs, they would rather not blow out the salary cap to go get someone that's over 30. They would love to save that money for the needs that they're going to have into the future. They like their wide receiver group, right or wrong. And they've got 2 really good guys. I mean, if they can stay healthy, and with the changes that in theory they're making and the addition that they made in the backfield, they should be okay. But again, it's a lot of ifs and it's a lot of bets, and we're gonna have to see how it works out. But right now, I mean, I would put the odds that the Chiefs are going to end up signing a veteran wide receiver of any sort is extremely low. Chris, who is missing from mandatory minicamp? By my recollection and understanding, I think it's just Rashee Rice. There was another defensive back that wasn't on the field today that I couldn't track, and I didn't see a transaction on this. So I know that the Chiefs did, make room for L'Jarius Snead. They waived Marlon Sewell. It's a safety. There's one other player I didn't see on the field, and that was Darko Perkins McAllister. He's a corner that's a little bit further down. I saw everybody else on the field in some form, I believe. I know there were some questions about Christian Fulton, but my notes, I had Christian Fulton out there, unless I just absolutely missed on something. Obviously, Mansour Delane, probably have heard not practicing on Tuesday. We don't know why, but he was on the sidelines. L'Jarius Sneed was out there today, was not on the roster as of yet, but he was on the sidelines working out, or he's watching practice, I should say. He was just in a jumpsuit over there hanging out on the sidelines. John Michael Gillenborg, the tight end from Wyoming and from Leewood, he has not been practicing. He's had a compression sleeve on his right leg throughout OTAs, but we haven't seen him work. Wesley Besant, the linebacker from Miami, there's a lot of people are excited about. Also been an observer, has not been practicing during OTAs. Omar Norman Lott obviously has not been practicing as well. And I believe that's really it. I did not count anybody as, it's just a significant absence. It looks like everything that anybody who's missing from minicamp on Tuesday, Chris, was had an excused absence for an injury. So it looks like not a lot of concerns there. ACC back. I guess I didn't do enough to answer all of your questions, ACC, but I totally appreciate the super chat. But does Cyrus Allen have any trouble in terms of the playbook or where to line up and be at? Also, do you think he can overtake Taekwon? I haven't seen any problems with him from a football IQ standpoint. I mean, you're gonna see plays busted every once in a while. Maybe the receiver goes the wrong way, doesn't line up in the right spot, ball goes somewhere else. I don't remember seeing any of that with Cyrus yet. I've seen it with other players, and he may have had one that's just slipped past me. And obviously, we've only seen 3 of the 7 practices to this point, so we haven't seen everything. But I haven't seen any troubles with him so far. When plays have been blown dead for issues, it's been other guys that's looked like been the responsible player. And like I said, it's always possible that he's had 1 or 2 there that I've just missed. But that's another area where I've been really impressed that he seems to be picking up things very quickly. He seems to know where to go and what to do, and that's not common for a rookie. I mean, there's some second year players that are not knowing where to line up and have issues. So Cyrus Allen is not in that ballpark. Can he overtake Taekwon? I mean, we'll see what roles these guys end up, playing and specializing in. And obviously, when Rashid gets back, we'll change a little bit of that. Could I see him overtaking Taekwon as far as snaps go? Maybe is a better way to look at it because, like I said, I mean, Allen, I could see playing multiple spots quickly, which is pretty rare for a rookie. Taekwon is probably best at X, and I know that they can squeeze him in the slot if needed, but I don't think that's his best routes and his best position. And they got other guys that they like there too. Worthy is typically going to be your Z. And again, I don't think that's a spot where they see Allen doing a lot of work, but I think he could play all 3 of those spots. I think he could this season overtake Taekwon as far as snaps go, especially if Taekwon continues to have a little bit of problem with the easy balls and not just being a little bit more consistent. For Taekwon's sake, I mean, I hope it doesn't end up being like similar to what happened last year, which is, hey, somebody misses the beginning of the season or is hurt, and then when they come back, Taekwon gets faded out. I can see, but I can see Cyrus, working enough that eventually he gets enough of the trust and is productive enough that, hey, he'll get more of the reps. So I think he'll be 4th in the rotation to start the season. But yeah, I mean, to your point, could he be the 3rd in the rotation by the end of the year? Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a possibility. So would not bet against it. Tommy, why was Mansour Delane not practicing today? Chiefs did not give us a reason, but like I said, he was on the practice field and not just on the sideline watching. He didn't have a helmet on and didn't go through any of the reps, but he was out there talking with his teammates and going through some of the instruction and listening to the coaches, doing mental reps. It certainly, from watching practices all these years, it had all the hallmarks of just a precaution. Didn't look like there was anything in particular that he was protecting or walking slowly or anything. It looked like he maybe just tweaked something and they don't want to risk anything. soft tissue injuries, hamstrings, anything like this time of year, they're going to take it easy. So wouldn't surprise me if it's just that. I'm Brown. Listen to you on Locked On Chiefs, and you said something like you don't think we'll get more than 7 games from Snead. Can you elaborate? I mean, I didn't. I may have said that, and if I did, I probably just had a malformed thought come out of my mouth. It's a possibility, just because of what we've seen the last 2 seasons, that hey, maybe the knee's not going to hold up, and that's what you'll get. I think it's hard to bet that you're going to get 17 games out of L'Jarius Sneed, just because at 29 and that knee, it's going to be a little bit problematic. But I don't think that, like I said, I don't think he's going to be a player that you're going to get, hey, 90% of the snaps in 17 games. I think that's probably too much for that knee to hold up under, unless, again, I mean, the Chiefs go into extreme load management that are able to squeeze a little bit more out of him. But I think that, you're looking at a part-time player. I mean, if you were able to even get, I think, 40% of the snaps from L'Jarius over a 17-game season, I think that's okay. I could, like I said, I mean, I could see him, being in the ballpark of, 400 snaps, and that might be all you can get out of him. I think it's going to be difficult to get like 1,000 snaps over the entire season from L'Jarius. So, but he could surprise us, and maybe there's been an improvement there that we don't know about. We'll see. Obviously, the Chiefs liked enough on his tryout on Monday to bring him in and keep him around. I just know that that knee has been an issue going back minimum to 2022, but it sounds like it's been a problem going back even further than that, even going back to college. So again, it's not the miles on L'Jarius. It's just that he's got a bulky knee, and as a guy with 2 bulky knees, I understand that. So yeah, I mean, I'm not predicting anything. I'm the Brown. I don't think that. I'm not saying that you're only going to get 7 games from L'Jarius Sneed. If you try to play him 100% of the snaps, you might only get 7 games out of L'Jarius, maybe less, maybe more. But I think you just got to be careful trying to get the most out of him. Rebecca, how do you think Kelce looks at this point compared to last few years? I feel like we didn't get a big look at Travis today, because I don't think he was out there for any of the team periods, and I'm not sure that he was out there for even. I don't remember seeing him. I might have seen him, I guess, for maybe a couple of, maybe a few reps on teams. I may be thinking of install periods. Let me go through my notes. I mean, I do take notes of 7-on-7 and team periods, and I was gonna say I don't see any. I guess I do have a target for Travis in 7-on-7. I do remember that one pretty well. That was it. He just had the 1 rep today. Got to see him warm up and do some stretching and everything, and going through position drills. So I don't feel like we got enough of sample size today, Rebecca, to know for sure how he looks versus the past. So we'll see. If there's any, we get to see a little bit more on Wednesday from him, and if he was on the podium, hopefully on Thursday, we'll cross our fingers that we get to hear from him then. But I'm not holding my breath. But I mean, I know the last couple of years he's done a lot to try to improve his off-season looks, and I don't know. We haven't heard from anything as specifically. I don't recall him really talking too much about it on the podcast either, about where he's been, but hopefully we'll get a decent update soon, Rebecca. Des, anyone else realistically brought in? I mean, I was even mildly surprised that the Chiefs ended up signing L'Jarius. I mean, once you bring somebody in for a visit, there's a pretty good chance you're going to sign him, obviously, if you like what you saw. But no, I mean, I get the sense right now that there's just not a lot of interest in, from this club in bringing anybody else in. Again, they don't have a lot of cap room. They would have to restructure another contract to free up some space. They've got a lot of things in the future to pay for. Um, you know, I don't see it at this point. I don't see the target that they seem to really, really like. There's a concern, obviously, at corner. That's why they brought in Legarius. There's a concern at tight end that's probably bigger than Chiefs fans' level of concern is at tight end. I think. It certainly seemed like if I'm the Chiefs, I would have some concerns about tight end behind Travis. If anything happened to Travis, I think you would definitely feel it. I mean, maybe more so than in past years, because the group behind Travis has not been consistent. So, I mean, and hey, they don't have the money for a Cam Jordan unless Cam Jordan wanted to come in on a 1-year deal at a vet minimum, which I don't think that Cam Jordan wants to do. I don't think any of the other big names that you see out there at receiver. I'm not even sure if some guys that, you know, hey, maybe you think you could realistically get like a Juan Samuel or a Brandon Cooks. I mean, and Legarius, like I said, Legarius barely fits into, the Chiefs' idea of this offseason of not adding any big, bloated contracts for over 30 players, and not talking about their own players. I mean, they just they don't see the point this year really in bringing in older veterans when they could maybe invest in younger players and try to develop them into what they need. So um unless there's some injuries or some drastic changes, yeah, I don't think that the Chiefs are going to go out there and try and add any big names. I don't think there's any big name player, big contract player coming through the door. Now that you've added Snead, I mean, again, I'm gonna bank on the idea that I think everybody who makes the first 53, is probably here right now. I'm just not sure there's anybody else going to be walking through the door that's gonna, make that jump. Des, how has Royals looked? Um, okay. I mean, I think that's what I would say. He's had some struggles, and obviously I think last year the red shirt year was good for him for the most part. I mean, he obviously got in, came back from the knee tendonitis, and got some playing time last year, but he's struggled. I mean, there's been some struggles. He's still picking up the playbook. He's a guy that still makes some rookie mistakes, which you really don't you really wish we weren't getting with some a second year player. You wish. I mean, I'll go ahead and hint what I go ahead and say what I was hinting at and alluding to earlier. I mean, Jalen Royals is making more mistakes than Cyrus Allen is when it comes to routes, when it comes to lining up. I mean, those are the things that are going to be frustrated to you. But at the other side of it, I mean, his hands have looked good. He's shown good speed. He looks healthy. He looks like he's moving well. So you like all those things. I'm just not sure. We'll see what happens. I mean, at this point, I think you're only hoping for Jalen Royals that, hey, if he can be your number 5 receiver, you're in an okay place. And if somebody pushes him, maybe you're in an even better place. Although I think you would like it to be that if somebody's beating out Jalen, it's because 2 people have had a really, really good training camp. Whereas I think that, at this point, I would say the more likely thing is that Jalen Royals has struggled and somebody else has caught up with him. So we'll see. I'm a little concerned about Jalen at this point and just kind of his development. And on the bright side, you've got some obviously other players like Cyrus that has really looked good. So it's a mixed bag, but like I said, I would just like to have seen more development from Jalen. And hey, it's early. It totally is. So let's just wait and see what happens. But I think there's more to come there. And ACC, hey, I am. You never have to apologize for a super chat, ACC. And Cyrus Allen's going to be a player that a lot of people are going to be talking about and asking about this year. Has his separation been against the DBs? He is consistently getting open, or does he get shut down for the most part? I'll be honest, I don't see Cyrus Allen getting shut down very often. Now, where's he running? He's running kind of where I would say is like team 1.5. So he's getting reps with the ones. He's also getting some reps with the twos. And when he's, and this is, a factor to consider, when he's working with the second team in 11 on 11, remember he's working with Justin Fields there since Mahomes is not throwing there. So he does get some work with Mahomes when obviously they're in 7 on 7. And I'm just looking through my notes today. He was a little quiet early. Looked like and this is the other thing, he had a target on a red zone from Fields that was just an uncatchable ball, and then caught a red zone touchdown on the next play. I had another target from Nussmeier 2 plays later in the red zone that Gus Nussmeier sailed. So you're going to hear that a lot. And there's he had a reception there when in the 7 on 7 period with Mahomes. The first 4 targets were Worthy, Allen, and Kelce. Maybe notable, the final target for Mahomes there in that 7 on 7 was Imari DiMercato, and I think DiMercato did what Eric Bieniemy demands his running backs to do. He finished it. They took a short pass and just weaved through people, and then took it all the way to the end zone. Didn't need to. It wasn't going to be a touchdown play, but hey, he ran it all the way down. That looks like the bulk of the work that Allen got today, at least in the 7 on 7 and 11 on 11 periods. I don't see him taken out of a lot of plays. He is creating separation, and when I've been talking to some of my colleagues, I mean, we've been talking about the fact that this looks like the guy who is going to get open the most this year. I can see him creating better separation than even like Rashee and Xavier, because I think he's a more proficient route runner at this point. There are other things about those 2 players' games that's pretty elite and maybe better than Cyrus, but as far as a route runner goes, I would probably say right now that I think that, hey, I think I'm multitasking right here because we're going to have a guest come in for a few moments. But I think Cyrus is the best route runner of the 3 at this point. So that said, and I think our guest is ready. So if he's not, he should wave me off. But he's giving me the thumbs up. And then I'm DeBrown. We will go to your question next. But it is TV producer Nick Jacobs extraordinaire.
Finally, I have come back to the Q&A for a couple
on
minutes,
your own. I did try to guilt you earlier, and you said there was no way you were coming. And then in my heart, I thought,
you were kind and gave me some solid advice earlier today, so I felt like it had to be repaid. It was life advice, people. Okay, it wasn't anything about the Chiefs. Sometimes Matt and I just talk about our lives in general. We don't talk about.
This is true. This is true, and sometimes we talk about Hy-Vee fines.
That's right. Not right now. I'm going to go to Hy-Vee and find some things afterwards, but not right now. Not at this very moment.
I have not tried them yet, but we did have a pretty serious breakdown of the Chick-fil-A potato chips.
Which one? The original or the one that's got the sauce?
You were talking about the one with the sauce, because I didn't understand that it had sauce on it.
Yeah, so it's got the Chick-fil-A sauce. It's not. I don't know if it's really the sauce on it baked into it. It's got the seasoning, so it tastes like it. But it's not. It's not. I thought it was going to be slathered with the sauce. It was not. It was not, Matt.
It was not. Well, it sounds like you have time for a couple of questions.
Just a couple, Matt. Just a couple.
Well, you got here in the perfect time because I'm DeBrown with the super chat. Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
Brown.
I'm
truly appreciate that.
That's awesome.
The Chiefs are known for making DBs great and tradable. Could the Chiefs be making somewhere in the DB room tradable? Get that missing piece later.
Let's see. I'm gonna read this again because we make some of the DB well. Maybe I don't know about in the short term because I think they're still trying to figure out what they're going to have. That's actually going to make the roster. I mean that would obviously you hope that's the case and you hope that's what they're going to end up doing. But right now, at this very moment, I don't even think they know who their 5 or 6 cornerbacks are definitively going to be. And more so, I'm talking about from 4 to 6. I mean, so we'll see on that front because you and I have seen a rotation. We've been there at OTAs, and And, and as I always say, trademark wise, until the pads come on, we don't definitively know. I mean, they're supposed to limit their contact and not have, a bunch of contacts. So, like, whenever guys have pads on, they're much more aggressive in their press coverage and their ability to kind of shuck a defender and get off press coverage or be able to maneuver more. So, I mean, you're seeing from when you're at OTAs and mandatory minicamp, what you were seeing is more of a, how do I phrase this? It's more of what their skill is, not necessarily skill combined with strength. So you're just seeing like you were just talking about Cyrus Allen a minute ago. Cyrus is a guy that has good technique. He's got good route running ability, good quickness, good cuts. He's got that going for him. But whenever he faces a physical corner that has the pads and can kind of jam him at the line, how is that going to work out? Those are just things you can see in college and say, well, he did that great in college. All right, well, now he's in the big boy league and he's going to be facing some corners who are better than anybody he faced in college on a weekly basis. So that's where you don't know definitively what will or won't happen. And also, once a guy gets hit, how do they bounce back? Are they out a couple plays? Are they hurt a couple plays? Or snap in and snap out? Are they able to kind of rebound and continue to maintain that consistency?
Yeah, and if anything, I mean, I feel like that this year, I mean, the Chiefs are going two directions. Obviously, they drafted a couple of defensive backs, so they're trying to develop some young talent. But they've also brought in a couple of guys like Kyer Elam and Kader Kohoof, which for different reasons are kind of reclamation projects. And
did you make those names up? No, I'm just kidding. I know they're on the roster.
But they're another Dave Merritt specialty, which is you take a player that doesn't work out in some other places and see if you can make them what you need. And I mean those would be to me your short term investments that if you think, but again, you're not going to turn around those players for significant pieces. But
no, that's like day 3.
Yeah, I mean, can you turn them around and flip them for day 3 picks, or even as a niche that you need to fill, maybe. But again, what you're hoping for is that hey, Mansour Delane and Jaden Kennedy are some players that are going to be worth something down the road someday. We get to the part where I lose track of things, Nick. But
it's a tough break. You hate to see it.
I don't know if you saw the Jeremy Fowler report. This is no news to us. I mean, you and I have been talking about this for a while, that Wanye is probably the most tradable player on this team. I mean, he's has a starting experience, which some teams should appreciate. Has it been fantastic? Not necessarily, but he also didn't embarrass himself out there. There's going to be some teams desperate for some tackle play, and he does not factor into this team's plan for 2026 whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, at best, I think I already kind of felt like he was going to be the 4th or 5th offensive tackle at best, because I felt like Simmons and then Moore are going to be potentially your top 2. Then you got Espele, then you got obviously Driscoll, and right there you've already got who I consider your top 4 offensive tackles. And then when you throw in I can't remember his name offhand, but I know they're now magically giving him pub.
There's Chu Godric, who's been around for a while, who's still getting reps ahead of Wanye, but Khalil Benson is the flavor of the day for today. Yes.
Yeah, that was the one that's now getting pub all of a sudden. So I'm going to look and see who his agent is and go from there. But yeah, so I mean, like you're going to have, and like you said, Chu Godric's going to be in front of him too. So Wanye has athletic ability. He may end up being a guard for another NFL team potentially. That may end up being a better position for him. Because in the tackle thing, I know he had struggles with the quickness. So whenever they smack, dip, and rip their way through, I know there was going to be issues on that front from time to time. And then above all else, I think his foot quickness and his ability to kick step. I think at times it isn't the same as it was in college. And part of that may just be that he's facing a better level of pass rusher than what he did in college. And so there was times where guys could put him on his keister, and there's times where guys could get around him. So I think at minimum, if a team wants to put him at guard long term, I think he has a very serviceable career in the NFL without a problem. But in terms of like what the Chiefs are doing from a tackle perspective, yeah, I think he's in a really tough spot to just crack the top 5 at this point. So seeing that thing that he may be traded, that makes a ton of sense. And if the Chiefs can get a pick and he can get a fresh start and be higher up on another team's depth chart, I think that's a win-win for everybody.
I think you are right. I'm with you. Rebecca, do you think Rice's return is going to come with some pressure to perform and clean up his off-the-field antics?
I think there's going to be pressure to perform because he needs to get paid after this year. Like, I mean, that's where the pressure's coming from, and he needs to get paid, one, just for his life in general, but two, because of all the off the field legal stuff that he's going to have to pay for. So I think all that combined, like, that's the pressure in itself, is to be able to make that straight cash, homie, as Randy Moss would say. Sorry, it's still in my head to this day. Like,
That's a great one.
I remember in 04, I'm going to tell the story real quick. In 04, whenever we got the CNN feed when I was an intern at Metro Sports, and Randy Moss had just gotten fined for the mooning incident up in Green Bay when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. And they sent out the video because you had affiliates and you could be able to get it and everything. And we had the CNN. It's called CNN News Sources, our affiliate. And they sent out Randy Moss. And it's still my favorite thing on the planet, to where Randy is he's talking about the fine and what he got and everything. And like, you just see the interview up close with him right by his vehicle, by his Chevy truck at that time. He's just talking to everybody. And then he's just nonchalantly talking about the fine. He's like, that doesn't mean anything to me. I'll pay it in straight cash on me. And so it's still my favorite thing. But my favorite part of all of it is when the camera zooms out, Moss is parked in the middle of the street sideways with his truck, not even an actual parking spot in front of the facility. And like, that's just the funny reveal that would be like an Office type documentary type thing, to where it's even more comedy than you expect, just because you think it's a normal nonchalant thing. You're filling in the blanks and assuming, oh, he's in a parking spot, they're talking to him and everything. And then the camera zooms out and he's just in the middle of the street parked sideways.
There's a lot of things that, we just don't get with social media these days, and that's one of them. And Terrell Owens doing, like, sit-ups in the park, his driveway.
Yeah, driveway. Yeah, when he's in Philly.
Yeah, just the good old days. I mean, Rebecca, yeah, I mean, there's going to be pressure. There's been pressure, but this is it. I mean, this is where somebody's got to have the conversation with Rashid, to just say, you need to understand how close you are to blowing everything, and you can't have another slip up. And hey, I know that there's been similar conversations had with him, and obviously it hasn't quite taken yet. So once again, we're going to find out the old adage, Nick, from our dear friend that loves it so much. Is the contract you're going to be undefeated this year?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're doing Terez's thing. I thought you were doing
Terez.
Bleep around to find out. I was like, oh, there's that too. Matt,
that too.
So aggressive on your Q&A.
Good question here from Nikki. What do you think of Jacob DeJesus?
He is one of
got a great first name.
How do I say this? He stands out on the football field because of his height alone.
Yeah, I need to have the day that he and Ethan Driscoll are standing next to each other.
Oh, dude.
They're going to look like different species.
Dude, like, Driscoll just towers over people at practice. And him compared to DeJesus next to him would be absolute comedy.
I mean, bless his heart, we've got some guys on this roster that will be standing next to DeJesus, and you're like, okay, you look at that guy's height, and you'll be like, that guy's 5'10", listed at 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if that dude's 5'10", there is no way that DeJesus is 5'7".
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not. Maybe they put a box platform down for him, and he's wearing cleats too. But yeah, no,
I don't know a whole lot about DeJesus. I can guess something though from his profile, which is that this guy has been told for the last 10 years, maybe more, that he can't play football, that he is too little, he is too small, he can't do it. And clearly he has been able to, at this point, tell every doubter to just take a long walk off a short pier, because he's here and getting his chance. So I'm not going to bet against him, but man, it's going to be a tough fight, Nick. Long walk, short period.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get, but the walking would stop because they can't.
Yeah, but that last step's a doozy.
I get what you're saying, but like I get I get the reference, but I'm like, they're not going to continue walking at that point, so it's still technically going to be a short walk on a short pier.
It's going to be one walk one step longer than it could have been.
I mean, technically, sure, but that's not a long to me in terms of definition. But tomato, winning longboard.
It's great content like this which is why you should hit the like button.
Yeah. But to answer Nikki's question in terms of De Jesus, look, he's a quick wide receiver. He catches almost every pass that I've been at practice. I wasn't at mandatory today because I was off and enjoyed my life. So I'll be there tomorrow though, sweating in the heat with Matt and everybody else out there. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I think with him, like, look, he's got everything. He's got the quickness and he's got the acceleration that you want from a receiver that he's going to have to even have a chance in the NFL. I'm concerned when he takes some hits over the middle, how life's going to go for him. Like that's where, and because I mean, the best way I can describe him height wise is I think Darren Sproles is taller than him. And I'm just being honest about that.
Probably. I mean, I can't see how. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I can't think of any player I've seen on an NFL football field that I think might be shorter than.
I personally haven't.
Because I mean, again, the 5'7" I do believe is generous. So
yeah, because I can't remember what Sproles was, but he wasn't much. I know. I'm pretty sure he's taller than Jesus.
I feel like he was 5'8", but I could be wrong about that.
5'6".
Sproles was listed at 5'6".
Yeah, he's listed at 5'6", 190.
Wow. Okay,
so and I think
I don't remember him. I know he was short. I didn't think he was that short.
I knew he was short. But yeah. So Deuce Vaughn, let me look him up. But I think Deuce is taller than Sproles was personally.
Feels like it. I mean,
yeah.
5'6".
Deuce is 5'6" too. All right. Well,
man.
But I think Deuce to help DeBrown out. Yeah, no, I think Deuce is taller than Jesus.
that is probably the thing, is that even these guys are being listed as shorter. I still think that De Jesus is probably shorter than 5'6". Yeah. Nikki also wants to know about what it is about KC tight ends that they're always hurting camp.
I mean, I have concerns at tight end in general, and they don't even involve injuries. So, Travis Kelce better stay healthy. No Gray. We'll see where he's at in a couple months, and then after that, I don't know what they have on this roster. I really don't. I know the names they have on the roster. I just don't know that, because I mean, you're hoping Brennan still would take that step, but you don't know with him, and then. With Michael Gillenborg, you're not 100% sure what he will or won't be. And then, Trey Watson is inconsistent at best. And I mean, he really should honestly be a practice squad guy. So I'm not going to say I'm not nervous about tight end because I am. And the fact they haven't had somebody that's and then obviously you got Jared Wiley too. And you don't really, you don't know about Jared Wiley either, if he's ever going to be the guy he was before the injury. So all that combined, yeah, I don't know what they have after Travis, and I don't think they do either.
And that's why they got 2 tryout guys in camp too, because they need options.
They're going to need more options, that's for sure.
They're going to need more options. Des was asking about Rashid being fined for not being there. Yes, he will be fined this year. It's about $108,000 that you get fined for missing all 3 days, and he will not be there all 3 days. So. And the NFL made the rule, a few years ago that those can't be waived anymore for, just fun and everything. They can excuse a player for a legitimate absence, but being in jail is not considered a legitimate absence. So,
I would disagree, but I understand the principle.
They I mean, I think if, your kid has to go, to the dentist or something is more legitimate, but It's a fine line, Nick.
I don't know. I don't see those as like in the same ballpark.
As long as you're not holding, not coming in for contract reasons or jail, it's pretty much, those are probably the two reasons that will not get you an excused absence.
All right.
Brian asking, Benson getting a look at right tackle. Can Andy Heck teach footwork now? Maybe he bought a book or something. I mean, I will just note, Nick, because we alluded to it earlier. I mean, I'm scared because I'm afraid that we're like one moment away from me being put in for some snaps at right tackle tomorrow, because everybody is. Jacob DeJesus might get some snaps at right tackle because everybody's getting some work there.
He's not.
There are literally, I mean, if you go down to the third team, there's literally like 7 guys getting reps at right tackle in this year's OTAs.
But that's what Andy Heck does. Like, he rotates everybody in a different
There
spot.
is no other rotation going on. I mean, we don't know the other days of the week, obviously, and we'll see tomorrow. But there's been like no other rotation amongst the other 4 spots. It's so weird.
Yeah, on first team, I understand. But but technically there has been on first team, even though we can't technically report who it is. There's been on 2 back.
Very little.
But there's been it. Not at the 4 spots, but at another spot there's been some rotation. Won't say who, because that's not part it's frowned upon. And that's technically part of the agreement of being able to watch practice. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying, man. I get what you're saying. I feel you knocking, I'll let you in. I don't have any hors d'oeuvres for you. I apologize, but yeah, I don't have anything positive for Brian. Brian set me up with this terribly by mentioning the name Andy Heck. Like, you just set me up for failure from the start.
But if anything, it probably says a lot more about the coaching that Khalil Benson got at Indiana, and that's why maybe because, hey, I mean, that was the popular pick this year about everybody from Indiana's coming in. Just another guy from Indiana that apparently got some coaching.
I was like Donald wrote on the chat thing. Mark at 0, dude. The Big Lebowski. I love it. It's awesome.
Rebecca,
I'll give you 1 or 2 more questions, and I got
1 or 2.
Whoa!
All right, we got it then. What's your bold prediction for Kelce this season, stat-wise? Mahomes.
Oh, I have absolutely no idea. I don't know. What were his numbers last year? They'll be less. Let's see.
See, I'm gonna be bold and say
that's fine. Be bold. Okay, so last year he had 76 catches, 851 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he had an average of 11.2. It'll be under that. How much under? In terms of yardage, I don't know. Touchdowns might be more. Hopefully they are. Catches might be a little bit less, but I think yardage will be less than his 851. That's the best I can do for you, Rebecca. And for people that have listened to me for years, that was me going out on a limb. Okay,
that was Nick going out on a limb because
okay, you may be like, what the heck? You didn't say numbers. I'm not here to help you gamble, okay?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Nick is not here to help you gamble.
Not here to help you gamble, Rebecca. You have a gambling problem. You need to talk to somebody about it. I think it's 1-800-BETS or something like that. I don't know. But, Rebecca, I apologize. I gave you numbers, and I think it'll be under that. And that's the closest to gambling I can get for you.
Chiefs Digest and 41 is the mic is here for entertainment purposes only. Please, we beseech you, no wagering.
It's just don't be suspicious. Great disclaimer. I love it.
There you go. Stole it from Letterman. I'm going to send you out of here with Brian's question.
I'll give you one more after Brian, okay? Brian's in there. He's hogging the show. He's asked multiple questions. And
we need to see how Brian's...
Have you gotten to every starred question? Because I feel bad if somebody has to start.
Oh, gosh. I think we did get a couple of starred questions that I missed there.
Double check that you didn't miss them there, buddy.
Let's go to there next.
They're paying you straight cash.
They are, I know. And I saw the number went up and I wasn't looking. So
Casey Harold, I am not Greek. I am not Greek. I am not Italian. Sorry.
You do a much better job of reading the end of the stream than I do too. I mean,
well, Matt, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Okay,
we do. I'm just lucky to be able to keep up with the middle of the conversation, much less pay close attention to the end of the conversation.
Matt is gonna meet you in the middle.
Brian wants to know if we're going to eat dinner with him at the Blue Springs Zarda August 1st, or are we still stuck up? I mean, I am not opposed to putting together a meet and greet at some point, but I don't want to embark on someone else's meet and greet. So if it's going to be something, we're gonna do it ourselves, and and we're gonna do it with a sponsor who's going to eventually give us a little something for the effort and everything. That's my take on it, Nick.
They're going to give Matt the money for the effort. I am not allowed to legally take any money because of the company I work for. I have done a learning module on it, and I had to agree to the terms of it. People that don't know what learning modules are, they are videos that you do on a computer, and they teach you the do's and don'ts of how to stay employed. So Matt likes to play a game called Let's Test Nick's Health Insurance and be able to get taxes taken out of salary. Matt likes to play that game sometimes. I don't like to play it. But,
I don't mean to play it. It's just every once in a while it comes up in the rotation.
Casey Harold thinks it should be in the Hy-Vee parking lot. And I'm going to say right now, Casey Harold, that's going to be a really hot time of year. There's going to be a lot of factors.
Yeah.
Factor number 1, it's going to be hot. Factor number 2, it might rain. Factor number 3, there might be severe weather at that point. So, Casey Harold, I appreciate it. But I am going to take weather into account and say it's already going to be terrible.
And it's the other thing too, because I mean, during training camp, I mean, there's 2 days in which I really don't want to do anything else, and that's on practice days and that's on off days. I'm definitely not going anywhere on a practice day because I'm already exhausted by the end of the day. Who knows what I'm getting out of St. Joe? I mean, on a good day, maybe it's 2:00. On a bad day, it might be 9. Actually, they'll kick me out of the building before then, but it can go a while, and it can be hot and miserable. So there's that. And then on my off days, man, first of all, I'm sleeping in. So there's that. And then I have to do all the other things that I'm not doing during training camp practices. So, All right. Final question well, we may have 2 more. But
the final question.
Our other super chats
possibly he. What?
Our super chats are there's a couple of comments that we're gonna help out with. Okay. All right, ACC wants to know 2025 offense versus 2026. How much better will they be?
Your guess is as good as mine. I have not seen them play organized football in a preseason game or a regular season game until they play in the regular season. I have absolutely no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. Because the problem we run into as media members up at training camp, and I'm willing to admit this because I don't care, is that we get so used to seeing the competition against one another that we sometimes think that that's the baseline of what the rest of the NFL is. It's actually the baseline of their roster. So if we see something that's bad up at training camp, boy, I tell you what, either that other side better be really good or there's going to be some problems. So the fact I'm telling you I already have concerns at tight end and they haven't even played a game, that tells me they probably better go make some investments if they can. So Brett Veach is watching right now. You know it. I know it. And your tight ends coach, Tom Melvin, knows it too. And that's why you brought somebody in to at least have another body. But in terms of 2026, in terms of Eric Bieniemy and hopefully a paying attention to detail, hopefully that's the case. You hope that that's what happens and that's how that goes. In terms of them running the ball more with Eric Bieniemy and DeMarco Murray there, you think it's going to be better. I think it'll be better. Offensive line, they have all the parts to be better. Do they have the coaching to be better? We'll find out. In terms of wide receiver, I think they're going to be better at wide receiver because they're going to be properly coached for once. Very exciting stuff to have since David Culley played a game called I'm going to go take another job. And look, it worked out for him. He got to go be the Texans head coach, and he got paid straight cash, homie. So, there's that. But I don't know if they're going to be better, but I think they have the opportunity through coaching and scheming to be better on by itself.
See, Nick, the people love you, man.
I don't know which song Donald's referencing. His daughter's been singing all day, but she's got great taste, whatever it is. What?
And so great to have your Nick rants and random singing.
I don't have rants back. I just don't care, and I say the words that are in my head. Matt knows I'm at a point in my
it.
life where I'm like, yeah, I could be cautious and tiptoe around and everything. And there's certain parts of life where I do that, like financially. But like when it comes to the words that form sentences on these anymore, I'm like, let's just throw it out there. What's gonna do? So another media member can come say something to me. I'm a rather large man. The other day, one of the media members tried to test me before Sunday sound off, and I just gave him a look, and he knew that he was going to back off at that point. And he tried to poke the bear, and he found out, not today.
It wasn't me.
No, I know it wasn't you, but but Matt knows. I can give a look, and once I give that look, Matt knows, and my mom's told me this too. If I give you a certain look, that means let's back away and let's just let the grizzly bear over there just hang out in peace.
100%. But that's one of the best things about you, Nick.
Where's my honey, yo?
I'm the Brown has contributed 2 super chats to the fact that you are his hero. So I think you need
That's very kind of you. I appreciate it, and I will pay you the $2 back that I owe you now. I don't know if it's Venmo or what it is.
Now, I think this one's directed towards me from Eric. You seem down on Delane compared to rookie Trent, and I assume you're talking like rookie Trent McDuffie, or are we talking? Is there another Trent that I'm missing, Nick?
I don't know, man. That's a question that Eric will have to clarify in the chats.
And I mean, and just discussing about me being down on Delane, I'm not trying to come across that way. And if anything, I might be just. I don't necessarily want to say hypercritical, but I mean, there's room for Monsieur Delane to improve. I mean, I think he's incredible. He's got incredible talent. I think he could come in here and absolutely just tear things up and be absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been like dominant in OTAs, but I'm not looking for anybody to be dominant in OTAs. I mean, this is where everything starts.
So. Yeah, Matt's not trying to see people be the best at exercising. He wants to see him be able to run a real marathon, play real sport, huh?
I do. This is true. I mean, I do not care who's the MVP of June because.
Oh, Eric just said McDuffie. There you go.
McDuffie.
Thank you, Eric. Very kind of you. We appreciate you listening and following along in the chat.
And I mean, I'm probably on par a little bit about what I feel like I felt about McDuffie as a rookie versus what Delane as a rookie, but. Nope. Maybe I need to go back and see what I was saying about Trent, but
I don't know, man.
I like Delane, so I got no problems there. Maybe I'm going to be hard on him because I just want him to be great, Nick.
Yeah, that's what Matt wants. He's just chasing greatness.
Well, and I'm the Brown continuing to emphasize I need your energy and antics today, Nick. Thank you for joining. Wish you both a great week. I'm the Brown. You are the best.
You gotta quit spending money, man. I mean, Matt wants you to, but I'm like, you can just the comments. You can say the comments for free, man. You don't have to dole out the money.
But this is what makes him the best. So, if we ever end up, having like a Chiefs Digest, commenter Hall of Fame and everything, hey. I'm the Brown's going to be a first ballot nominee.
First Q&A with fire on it too, right? Is it? I'm just going to keep we're lighting candles over here, and I'm not going to talk at it. I'm just going to keep letting the ember and the flame go till it burns my finger. This is what Q&As are meant for, people. All right, now it's getting real, and I really hope that the smoke alarm doesn't go off. But you know what? We're going to find out together. Going to find out.
Well, Nikki, if you make it to the meet and greet and you want to drop by St. Joe, we'll definitely hang out with you in St. Joe. So,
I'll be honest, I don't know what's going on with my life at that point. So,
you could be homeless. Who knows?
Whoa, Matt.
Well,
really,
we all could. But I was thinking more in the terms that you may have sold your house to some goat farmers and
Matt. You've given too many details already. Matt has given too many details on the offers on my house right now.
I even changed the details.
You did not change it one bit.
I did.
Oh, yeah, no, what you did. Sorry. I just realized. I thought it was the same thing for a minute. Yeah, that's a different animal. My bad.
That's a different animal.
That's on me.
All right, I am going to ask you for one more because Chris asked
All
you
right.
for you by name.
This is all right. You better hurry up. He's got another $1.99 question from ACC.
There you go. What does Nick want to see during the rest of the camp? This mandatory
Well,
minicamp.
since I'm probably only going to see one day this week, I mean, I'll be there Thursday, but they're going to be doing the. I call it this jokingly because the last day traditionally they just do the conditioning test, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so I call it. I've been jokingly calling in the office. I'm like, yeah, they're going to do the presidential fitness test like we used to do in PE. So essentially, yeah, the final day is probably going to be that, and if it is, that's fine because I mean, I got a long walk that day. Gonna get some exercise in. Yeah, I'll be tired from the heat the day before, but people don't care about my problems. They care about answering questions. And for Chris, what I'll say is what I want to see from mandatory minicamp is clouds and non-humidity. Those are my favorite things. Well, Matt and I stand out in the sweltering heat there. That's my favorite thing because I'm gonna be sunburned tomorrow. So by the time we do the podcast Thursday night, people will be like, "Has Nick got his A1C checked? He looks really red." And I'll be like, "Yeah, it's sunburn, bro." And I got different lighting now, so it looks a little bit better. But look, I mean, I'll be honest, man. They're in shorts, they're in helmets. Like it's not actual football. So like I don't see people hitting each other. I don't see linemen being able to move other linemen off the ball. I don't see effective pass rushes that have shoulder pads, and true football. So like all I'm out there is I'm just watching a glorified passing camp. Like 7-on-7 passing camp that you would see in high school during the summer. Like that's what it is. And that's not me knocking anybody. That's what their rules are. That's what it is. So, am I looking to see Timmy Timerson have a great day out there? It doesn't matter because they're not in shoulder pads. It's just something that keeps us excited and lets us not talk about the World Cup for a couple minutes before it's going to be insane. And World Cup's going to be all we're going to talk about for the next month. The people aren't going to talk about my birthday, that's for sure, because the World Cup's going to eclipse that. Rude.
Yes. Man, I don't know if a show from us talking about how much we both dislike soccer and the World Cup, I don't know if that would do great numbers or terrible numbers, but
I'm not going to say I dislike it. I understand the importance of it and what it is for this town.
Oh, sure. It's great. I mean, yeah, wonderful. Thank you for your money, all you people coming to town. It's great. I'm just over it.
All right. Well, fun fact, it starts in 2 days. And then it's going to go till middle of July, right before Chiefs training camp.
Already over it.
Chiefs players will have already had their vacation and lived their lives, and they will be coming back, and World Cup will be wrapping up.
There you go. And hey, we'll see how many games the Royals win when they're on the road because of the World Cup.
Oh, that's fun. Brian, it's not my birthday yet, but thank you. You're going to have to wait till the actual day that it happens.
It's birthday month.
I'm not one of those people that's like, hey, it's my birthday week, or hey, it's my birthday month. They got the day. It's as Matt knows, it's going to be a unique day this year for unfortunate reasons. But that's life.
That's life. That's what the people say.
That's what they tell me. All right, Matt, I got to play a game called Grocery Store. Sorry, Chris, no World Series talk from me. There's nobody local in it anymore in terms of actual teams. There are 5 local players. Matt Foster looked them up today, so I don't have to. Thanks, Matt. And hey, it's good to see you too.
5 local players in the World Cup?
No, in the College World Series.
Oh, College World Series. Yeah, it makes a whole lot more sense. As I would.
Did I say World Cup? If I did, that's on me.
I probably just heard that. So
okay. Well, Matt, you need to stop obsessing about the World Cup. Okay.
Well, I couldn't figure out how that there was like.
Yeah, right over there. Is it there? Yep. There.
I mean, I just couldn't figure out. Not that there's anything wrong with the Kansas City soccer scene, but I just couldn't figure out how there's anybody, in how could there be 5 people from Kansas City good enough to play for most of the teams in the World Cup that are not the United States.
Yeah, and like Nikki, yes,
and not live there or anything. So
I'm gonna ignore what you just said and recognize Nikki's comment. Yes, you're right. The truly unique birthday is February 29th with the leap year. I remember that for a different sad reason, but Nikki doesn't know why on that. So, I totally get it. But yeah, February 29th is definitely it's a day that only comes during leap years.
There you go. And Chris got his College World Series talk. So you are truly a man of the people, Nick.
Yeah, I tried to help everybody out for free. I did it in my free time. I don't get paid.
Thank you dearly, my friend. I truly appreciate. I truly appreciate you stopping in and
hey, no problem, Matt.
Creating the greatest Q&A ever.
It's not the greatest Q&A ever. We've had a lot of good Q&As. It's just people haven't seen me for a minute, and they, people that were seeing the Q&A each week thought I was getting annoyed and everything, and I had life going on, and and had some other real world stuff come up that needed to be handled. So popped in for a couple minutes, and by a couple minutes, I ended up staying, 30, 45. That's on me. I said I'd be here for 10, and here I am.
See, it's not easy, is it?
Oh, it could have been easy. I could have been mean. I could have been like, all right, 3 questions. But
yes, you could have.
Not tonight. Not tonight, Matt. Well, I'm going to play a game called Leave. Let's see if I get a higher score. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Nick. Truly very generous man. Thank you, Nick, for coming in on one of your days off once again. I love Nick. All right. We'll go lightning round the rest of the way because I know there's a bunch more questions, and I'll try not to pontificate too much on them. The Joe is Omar Norman not ready to practice? Not yet. He's been on the field today. Again, kind of a little bit like Mansour Delane was. Omar Norman Lott on the field. He's with the players and the defensive line, not watching from the sidelines. He's been out there, so that's not necessarily indicative of anything. The Chiefs were crossing their fingers that maybe he could do something during the minicamp, but like Nick mentioned, I mean, there's really only one more day left, and then the run conditioning test on Thursday. So I doubt we see anything. They're going to go ahead and keep him in check until training camp and then see where he's at. Obviously, it's still a possibility he starts training camp on the PUP list, but the Chiefs are at least hopeful that he'll be ready to go by the beginning of camp. But like I said, don't be worried if he's not ready by the beginning of camp. Brian, does Christian Fulton make way too much money to be here, or is it just me? I mean, it's not just you at this point. I mean, there's no doubt. Last year, and and I feel like that. Maybe we all didn't talk about it too enough, and the Chiefs kind of I don't think did a lot of favors for Fulton, and maybe Christian didn't do it himself because he didn't blame it, but he ended up having that cleanup surgery last year during training camp when he tweaked that knee again, and that cost him a lot of time and it cost him a lot of development. So I mean, it wasn't entirely last year, I think, on Christian Fulton not being ready to play. I think that that surgery, that little cleanup work that he had done in June, I mean, it set him back. Obviously, setting back in camp, setting back as far as learning. I don't think he was 100%, maybe at any point last season. And if he was, it may have been at the very, very end. But he's making a lot of money. I mean, she's paid him pretty well. What was it, 2 for $20? No matter how you break it up, I mean, yeah, the cap hit's bigger this year, so it looks even worse. But if you pay $10 million for a starting corner, that's starting corner money. I mean, it's not necessarily all pro money, but it's starting corner money. And not getting starting play, this is a little frustrating. And yeah, I mean, it would be and maybe it is a good problem. Maybe we're seeing that, hey, Noel Williams is really going to push him. That Mansour Delane is going to step in and be a great corner on day one. And maybe, hey, if Fulton's being your number 3 corner because those two guys are playing so well, maybe it's just bad luck. The Chiefs bought some insurance that they didn't need. But like I said, as much as he's playing, I think you would like to see him winning one of these starting jobs. And like I said, maybe that's the way you should look at it, is that, hey, you paid for some insurance with Christian Fulton. He was an expensive insurance policy to be given, but you needed him last year. You probably don't need him as much this year, but you'd still like to get you'd still like to get your $10 million of production. And once again, we'll see. There's a long way to go. We'll see if you get it all out of that. Darren, outside of Tyreek and Cam Jordan, are there any other notable vet signee targets? There's a few. I mean, I know obviously a lot of people have, we're hoping for one of the Diggs, there's obviously Stephon is available and Trayvon has been available. Um, once again, don't see that happening. There's more affordable options. I mean, I don't think Keenan Allen has signed yet, right? Um, I think somebody like a Brandon Cooks or a Curtis Samuel would be an affordable risk to take. And there's a few others. If your mileage may vary about what you think out there and like them. I don't recall seeing anybody from the tight end group that's, a serviceable risk. There might be somebody out there I'm just not thinking of, or it might be that there's somebody out there that's just going to cost you too much. And again, the Chiefs do not want to pay a lot of money. They don't want to pay a lot of money for anyone over 30 who's kind of a Band-Aid. So they would rather invest, that money into coaching up some younger players and see if they can't develop their own talent. It's something that they've kind of gotten away from. And this year, they want to get healthy on the books. They don't want to be wasting cap money that they can't afford. Let's see, Rebecca. I was looking at incarceration as legit. Rebecca, what do we think Rasheed is doing in jail for recovery or prep? Great question. I mean, I know that the jail that he's in, it looks like they've got some facilities. We don't know what his access is to it. Andy Reid suggested that Rasheed was given some things to work on and while in jail. I'm sure his surgeon probably also gave him instructions. I don't know. I doubt you're probably allowed like resistance bands in jail. Again, unless they're in the workout area, but I imagine you probably can't have those in your jail cell. But hey, there's certainly creative ways that you can try to get some work in. But let's face it, he's not getting top end recovery, and it's not been indicated by anybody that he's able and allowed to get visits from a medical professional or an athletic trainer or anything of that nature. So I doubt that is happening. We'll see how much Rasheed talks about this experience when he gets back. My guess is that we're probably not going to hear Rasheed talk a lot about this experience because he typically is not one to talk about the past and anything that's happened. He just wants to move on. And I know he gets advised that, but theoretically, from Kelce, we want Kelce's stats a bit lower, right? Meaning we run it more snaps for his possible replacements. That's a legitimate point, Kelce, which, I would say that I think you want you'd be fine with his numbers being a little lower if it meant that he were playing fewer snaps, because Travis has continued to play a lot of snaps at his age. And, last year he played 81% of the snaps of, games that he was in, over 900 snaps. That's a lot. I mean, I would be more comfortable from a load management standpoint with Travis. I think if he was probably closer to 7. Now, thing is that he's out there for those many snaps because he is by far your best option. So, and he does not want to come off the field. When, I asked him last year early in the season after that drop, if he gave any thought to, trying to manage his workload a little bit more and playing fewer snaps in order to be fresher throughout the games. And he said, hey, if he gets to that point, he's going to quit because that's not the way he wants to play the game. And he doesn't feel like if he has to pull himself out of games because he's tired, that he's told me that he is, the wheels have fallen off at that point. And I get it. I mean, I still think that he would be a more productive and efficient player if he played fewer snaps. But the fact of the matter is that even with the mistakes that they had last year with some of the drops, obviously, cost him a game or two. With those issues, I mean, he is still one of the top 5 best tight ends in the league at his age. He's going to be 37 this year. He's still going to be one of the top five tight ends in the league. So if that's what he's going to be, I mean, you're probably going to have to live with a couple of things, and one of those things is just going to be that hey, he's probably going to make some tired mistakes. And also, Kelce, follow-up question here. Delane has massive shoes to fill. Did McDuffie when he was first drafted? Gosh, I'm trying to remember who was. Somebody can probably point it out really, really quickly. Who was? This is where I'm getting old and I can't remember who was who. So McDuffie was drafted in the 22 draft. So who did he replace from the 2021 Chiefs? Let's see. Oh, Travaris Ward. Those were big shoes to fill. Travaris signed that big contract with the 49ers and had a few good seasons. That was a risk that the Chiefs took. I mean, that was a big risk the Chiefs took on walking on Travaris and ending up with McDuffie and Snead as your corners for the next few years after that. I mean, it was the right move. No matter, I mean, if you're able to get somebody like Trent McDuffie at the cost that you had Trent McDuffie rather than pay Travaris Ward, and I'll admit, I was not necessarily sure that was going to work out. I mean, um, McDuffie, you certainly did not necessarily think he was going to be there. The Chiefs did not think he was going to be available to them where they took him in the draft when they let Travaris Ward walk. So it was a risk, but obviously it paid off for them because, as good as Travaris Ward was, it would have taken a lot of money uh, to 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 keep him, and just wouldn't have worked, or wouldn't have been an effective cost of their money. Eric, I know you had the super chat about this, but you had a little bit different question here, so I still wanted to kind of address it and talk about it. I was saying much better things about McDuffie. I am just curious why the difference of tone compared to Delane. I mean, I'll be honest, like I said, I may just be holding Delane to a higher standard because he's a higher draft pick, and I think he can be a really good player. I wasn't necessarily as convinced that McDuffie, his rookie year, that he was going to become the player that he was because of the size issue and everything. But and I will say, I mean, I've been, I've spoke glowingly over the years about McDuffie just because of the person and the player that you see in the locker room. This is a guy that's never created a problem. He's always been a good teammate, does the right things. He's been a good influence on the younger players. He's a good teacher, all of these things, and a leader in his own way. It's just, we don't know. We're not there yet with Delane. And I mean, I should maybe I should go back and everything and look at some of the things that I was saying about McDuffie in 22, but I didn't. And like you said, Eric, I think it's probably more that I am probably being a little bit nitpicky a bit on Delane, just because McDuffie came in and kind of looked the part from day one. Delane it looks good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think he's looked good, he's just, there's a few mistakes here and there that he makes and things that he gets beat. But again, what the Chiefs say, and hey, it's a football cliche, but in many cases, it's an accurate cliche, which is if you learn from your mistakes, that's the important thing. And Trent McDuffie did that. I think Delane's going to do that. So, I mean, I hope I'm not too far apart, but if I'm harder on Delane than McDuffie, I would probably say that it's because of that higher draft pick, higher expectations, and Duffy may have just where he was taken, and because of his size, may have surprised me a bit more. Delane, hey, that the extra inch or so makes a difference. That should help you out. I mean, I still, obviously, that's still one of the worries, is that he's not like 6'2" like some other guys out there, but he's not I know I've had people who don't like the fact that I talk about Delane being not ideal of a typical shutdown corner, a typical all pro type corner. I mean, granted, McDuffie was an all pro corner and he wasn't the typical height either. So I don't know. I'll have to think. I'll reflect on that, Eric, because I do like Delane. I mean, I don't certainly don't want to give the impression that I've got some serious concerns or issues with him. I think he's going to be a really really good player, and working with Dave Merritt, he's got a chance to be a great player. So I'm not. I'm not down on him at all. Like I said, if anything, it's just that I see a guy that can be really, really good and can get better. And ACC, this one being the late one that came in there, and I didn't see your question, and this kind of fits in with Eric's questions about Mansour's biggest weakness. I mean, if anything, really, I would say that, and this may be just where I see him having some issues right now in a part of the game where, hey, it is a glorified passing camp, like Nick said, and the two people who should thrive in these kinds of two positions that should thrive are pass catchers and defensive backs. And I haven't seen Delane come out and dominate in a lot of ways like we have seen some other. I mean, Trent McDuffie was pretty dominant from day one. I mean, he made his presence shown early on. Delane, his anticipation looks a little off right now. If anything, like I said, it's he's sometimes a little late. Although I will say this in my best Eric Bieniemy impersonation. He's also had some of the best defensive plays. Hasn't always resulted in interceptions, but he's had some plays where he has just been absolutely all over a receiver with a pass breakup. There was, and I say this as a compliment to Mansour Delane. He had a play against Xavier Worthy last week on a back shoulder throw and red zone into the end zone for a touchdown. And Delane literally did everything he could. I mean, he was absolutely all over Xavier Worthy. He did not commit DPI. He did everything within the rules. His arms were in the area. I mean, he literally did everything you could possibly do, except Patrick Mahomes threw the perfect back shoulder throw, and Xavier Worthy managed to get his hands on it and hold on to it. Wasn't Delane's problem. It wasn't his fault. He did everything. And I've seen him do a lot of those things. Like I said, I think at this point, it's just his anticipation and, being there. I don't see him getting beat really bad. I think he's had maybe one or two snaps, but I mean, everybody's going to get beat. There's going to be a couple of balls that, hey, you just get deked out by a guy, the receiver beats you. It happens. But by and large, I mean, he's generally in the area around the ball, which I like. It's just, reading that quarterback and seeing when the ball is coming and getting there and making the play and just not being late. I mean, I'm still going to take that over a guy who's a split second late. I'm going to take that over a guy who's 2 seconds late and has given up the pass on, soft coverage and giving the guy a big cushion. And then the guy takes it for 20 yards of after the catch. He doesn't do that. I think he's going to give up some catches this year, but I think he's going to get a lot of pass breakups, and hopefully he doesn't give up a lot of yards after the catch. So I did pontificate a little there, but hey, it was a super chat and talking about Delane. So, and my observance, I think we're getting a valid question about why I'm being a little hard on Delane. And like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to. It's just, like I said, maybe just high expectations for the number 6 pick and, being a little nitpicky right now. Yeah, Nikki, today was 98 degrees at the end of practice in the heat index. It was miserable. I was impressed that the team made it through it today. It was nasty out there. Rebecca, how has Chris Jones looked? Why don't they all participate? Like you said, Kelce, only a little bit. I mean, OTAs and the 6 practices that we had up until today were voluntary. So players aren't required to be there. And hey, if you're a younger player fighting for a roster spot, you better be there, because if you're not, somebody's probably going to take your job. If you're Chris Jones or Travis Kelce, you don't have to be there. Nobody expects you to be there. Is it nice if you're there a little bit? Yeah. And both those guys were there on day one to do their physicals and get them out of the way and everything. Sounds like they then left and weren't around for the rest of OTAs, which it's no big deal. Hey, minicamp, again, it's not much of a deterrent. It's $108,000 fine roughly this year. Those two guys, that's loose change. So I mean, if they didn't want to be here, they wouldn't have to be here. But they're here because it's a responsibility, and if it's mandatory, there's an expectation that you're there if you can be there. So, but how has he looked? I mean, literally one day today, we did not get to see a lot of him. Again, kind of like Travis, limited in his work. So this was more or less just knocking off the rust a little bit for both those guys. Nikki, you'll be so glad when the NFL finals are over. I'm gonna miss I mean, even though I haven't watched anything, I mean, dang, I love playoff hockey and overtime playoff hockey. That double overtime game the other night, I kept trying to get to it because it was like, I got to see this, and then it ended just before I got to tune into it. So that's the other, I mean, a great thing about playoff hockey. This just ends out of nowhere. We have two teams going at it for 4 overtimes, and all of a sudden, just one fluky thing happens, and it's all over. It is exciting. I love being the king of pontification. I'm Brown. That was pontification, and it is one of my favorite words of all time. And my mom liked to use that when describing me too, so it just makes it even better. Fat Yankees, Simmons, Moore, Pole, and which two others round out the tackle room if Wanye is traded? I mean, you got to give some love to Khalil Benson. I mean, Andy Reid was giving it to him today, and he's moving up the chart and getting some reps. So I think you're absolutely considering him. Ethan Driscoll is going to be in that conversation, and I'm going to make sure there's nobody else that I'm missing there. I mean, I know Chew Godric I would mention as well, but Chew's back on the international exemption, and I think even though he's getting opportunities, I think he's probably a better shot to continue to be a practice squad candidate. Those are probably your best bets right there. I mean, you've got, in theory, you got 3 guys right there for potentially 2 spots. So with Chew, Khalil Benson, and Ethan Driscoll, I mean, the Chiefs would be, I think, fine with any of those 3 guys being a 5th tackle on the team. No guarantee to even carry it. I mean, your 5th tackle might be on the practice squad, but yeah, I mean, Wanye was running with the 3rd team today, which honestly, I mean, it's pretty reflective of where his spot has been. I don't know entirely why that the Chiefs have moved on, but they have. The way that he's getting out, he's not getting the reps and opportunities that he would need to make this team. I think the Chiefs, yeah, they are looking to go in a different direction. So it's made sense to me that you try to find a home for Wanye as probably as early as you can. Just you don't want to run the risk of an injury. Obviously, hey, other guys getting hurt, but that's probably what it's going to take, for a team to, have an injury and need somebody. And I think that Wanye is a good Band-Aid for somebody, and maybe a good developmental player. Maybe he would respond differently in a different system with a different O-line coach. You never know. 021 Kelce, has Fields been getting much work in? A lot of work. Honestly, he and Garrett Nussmeier have been getting a lot of work. Remember, Mahomes has not been doing team periods. He's only been doing those 7-on-7 periods. And then Fields and Nussbaum, even in those periods, come in right after him. The Chiefs have not, at least on Tuesday, did not give any reps to Chris Oladokun. So, Oladokun is, kind of the odd man out right now. And I don't know if that's necessarily that he's just there for break glass in case of an emergency. I think part of it, obviously, the Chiefs know what they have in Chris Oladokun, and they want to see the other 2 guys as much as they can. But yeah, Fields is, when you get to the team periods, Justin Fields has been the starter. He's getting all the reps that normally Patrick Mahomes would get. Nussmeier's basically getting all the reps in team periods that typically the 2nd and 3rd team quarterback would be getting. I mean, the 3rd team quarterback would probably only be getting about 2 or 3 reps anyway. in those rotations. So it's not a ton extra, but hey, every little bit helps. And you talk about a rotation, you might do 2 or 3 of those a day. I mean, that can be up to maybe 10 extra plays, for your third string quarterback. They definitely want to see both those guys and get as much work as they possibly can to figure out what they've got. And I mean, I will say both of them have a long way to go. I did hear, on the Chiefs broadcast on their audio today. I think this is fairly indicative. I mean, and it was the Chiefs broadcast, so obviously pinch of salt. But reviews on Garrett Nussmeier have been pretty divided. I know from talking to some of my colleagues, some like what they have seen. I've just seen a lot of ball sailing. I've seen his height become an issue. Um, I, I I can see why there's something to like there if you can clean up some of the issues that he developed last year when he was hurt. And Fields is maddening because he's had some stretches where he's looked really good, and he's had some stretches where he just looks a little bit lost. And it is a new offense and everything. So once again, I mean, you let him get accustomed. Well, let's see what happens in training camp. Let's see what happens then if he looks a little bit more comfortable. But and both those guys have one consistent issue, which is that the ball gets away from him. I mean, it's sailing time. They both have a tendency to sail their throws a little bit, and that happens a lot. I'm writing down sail on a lot of passes in my notebook. Brian, how do you feel about going after Xavier Leggett, whether Rice stays or not? I mean, once again, the only thing that fits in with what the Chiefs don't want to do, and I mentioned they don't want to sign a veteran. They don't want to be giving away a lot of money. They also don't want to really give up any draft picks to acquire players. So, and Leggett, I mean, in theory, he shouldn't be too expensive. I mean, obviously he was in that draft with Worthy, and they went on back-to-back picks. I mean, I wouldn't hate the acquisition of Leggett. I mean, again, what are you giving up? I mean, if I'm Brett Veach, I'm probably not one to give up more than about a sixth. You're giving up any more than that, and I think it's overvalued for what his production has been to this point in his career. So, Chiefs really don't want to, give up draft resources for a player. I think if they did that, they would want it to be an impact player that is at least worth it. And even then, I mean, I'm not entirely convinced that they would want to give up like a first or a second round pick for a receiver who was maybe a first or a second round pick in their respective draft within the last 2 or 3, 4 years. They don't want to give up anybody that they're going to have to pay. I mean, Leggett would be affordable for 2 more years, but I don't get the sense that they have much interest, Brian, in giving up the draft pick compensation either for a player. I mean, they're going to be looking for bargains. They're going to be looking to buy low and sell high. Oh, let's see. Where are we going next? Pano, Snead, $5 million to sit on the bench. Good signing. Veach, you more. Hey, I mean, he's only going to make $5 million if he plays. I haven't seen the breakdown yet, but when a contract gets described as up to $5 million with incentives, especially for a defensive player, that usually means close to league minimum, if not league minimum. And then a bunch of roster game day bonuses. You're getting paid if you're active on game day, those kind of things. Probably some snap counts, percentages. So you got to play X number of snaps or X percentage of snaps in order to get your bonus. So likelihood is that Snead has a contract built to make his money only if he plays, and he's only going to play if he's good. So. I think it's a little odd, Pano, because it goes a little bit against a lot of the principles that the Chiefs have been practicing most of the offseason as far as staying away from older guys and staying to guys with injury history. But it's one of their guys, which sometimes is a factor. somebody that they're familiar with his injury and what the issue is. It's an area of concern for them right now. But hey, they didn't give the money. The real bad decision, unfortunately for Tennessee, was giving Snead the money 2 years ago. I mean, paying him that contract was the one that was the bad idea. $5 million is a up to $5 million on just a wager. I mean, those are teams make those risks all the time, and they don't bother me that much. I mean, there's a chance and likelihood that Snead doesn't make anywhere close to $5 million. Kelce, how much are they working on learning the playbook right now? Is that more of a training camp thing, or does it start as soon as rookie minicamp? Um, Usually, oddly enough, I mean, Kelce, sometimes they don't give, and what they do during rookie minicamp is that they typically run stuff from the past year, mainly because they've got what, and this year the Chiefs had 104 players in for rookie minicamp. Um, you have their draft picks. They have the guys that they signed. There's only about 20, 25 of those players who are actually in your organization. And you don't want to give the other 80 guys, information on your game plan for this year that they could conceivably, learn and memorize. And, they're not going to be able to take a playbook with them, but they can take their memories and their knowledge and everything and maybe share that with another team. So they usually run old stuff, old plays, old offenses during the rookie mini camp. I've had some from rookies say that they did not get their playbook at all during rookie mini camp. Some that say that they did. I don't know. Maybe it's your mileage may vary for the player. But then they immediately start working on it. For the rookies, they're working on it. The moment after rookie mini camp for sure. I mean, that's when they're going to get set up, and hey, they're encouraged to study it on their own as much as they possibly can. The other players have been working on it since April. They've been working on it, and maybe even earlier than that. Depending on when the teams uploaded their iPads or their Microsoft Surfaces and sent it to them and everything. But yeah, they start the ground running. So right now, I mean, they're doing every day. They are doing an install period, which is it's a set of plays, formations, you name it, that they're going to base plays that they're going to learn, and they're going to run those, and they usually, I mean, this time of year, I mean, they're not practicing, putting in an install. This is an actual install. So I would say for these, I mean, they're going to have 8 practices essentially. No, I guess they had the week of 4. I mean, they're going to have no. They had 6. It was just the 6 OTAs. I'm sorry. They had 9 practices scheduled overall for this thing. They're going to have 8 that have actual installs. So there might usually be about 20 or 25 installs, especially on the offensive side. So those will continue in the training camp. They're going to do the exact same thing. The practices you see right now are almost identical to training camp practices. I mean, the same situations. The way things are all broken up, the periods that they have, what they're doing. You have an installation period where you go through the run through of everything before the practice. Then you go out and you get on the field and you run through it. Just with the offense and defense on the field by themselves, they're going up on air, and then you put it into practice and you run it for real, and the 11 on 11 periods, and you're putting in things that are going to have offshoots of them. So you may want run a play, but there might be 25 variations of that play. There's different things that you can put into it, different elements, and but the idea is, hey, you won't learn the base, and then you can add the wrinkles later in the season. So you learn it now, and then you call on that knowledge later. So yeah, it's underway. They're starting, and so yeah, this is for real. They're getting it. All right. Worldwide, I think, has got the last question in the queue that I see. So if there's any more last questions, feel free to fire away. We have had a lot of fun tonight. I know Nick livened things up, so I appreciate him coming by. Seemed to get everybody in a good mood. Worldwide, how do you think Rasheed and Xavier are going to react the first EB blows up on them? I mean, at least Xavier's got to see it already, and I don't know. I mean, I gotta think both those guys are gonna like EB. I mean, EB pushes your buttons. There is zero doubt about that. But he also gets the best out of you. And I know we've all seen the fights on the sidelines. Tyreek and Travis and Patrick. I mean, they've all got come to some words with EB in the past, and all three of them absolutely swear by the guy. So, and they're not alone there. I mean, EB is a fiery coach. I know I've heard some things that he says during practices. I can't imagine what he probably says during games sometimes. I'm sure, and it's probably one of those things that's a little bit like Patrick. Remember, from the quarterback series with Patrick with Max Crosby and saying you woke up the wrong gentleman, as Patrick put the PG version of that line. And Patrick says, he's like, I don't really remember saying. There's just moments where I just black out and do and say some of these things with his little celebrations. I'm assuming that's mostly legitimate. Sometimes they might be a little tongue in cheek, but I bet EB's a little bit like that too. So when you've seen the fights that he has and the arguments that he has with some guys on the sidelines, it's very possible that he's just either gone too far with pushing their buttons, or maybe push their buttons on purpose. So I think they're going to love it, and I mean, obviously, Xavier is looking really good on the field right now. And hey, give the credit to Xavier. I don't know how much Chad O'Shea deserves of that. I don't know how much EB deserves of that. I'm sure there's a little bit of everything to go around. But I can't wait to see Rashee Rice around EB and Chad O'Shea, because I mean, if he truly wants to get paid and thinks that he can, should be worth Jackson and Smith and Jigba money, EB and Chad O'Shea are the two guys that get him there. So he should embrace it and love it and just be ready to take it for all he can. Justin, last question. What's next for Mahomes? I think you're just, probably alluding to what's next as far as the rehab and the development goes. Hey, a couple of more milestones to go. I mean, really, from a running standpoint and everything, it looks like cutting is really maybe the big thing that's going to be coming next for him, and just doing some of the things that he does, what he has to do on the field to defend himself. They've kept him at this point away from any situations where anybody could accidentally run into him. He doesn't have offensive linemen around him. He has exclusively been in, 7-on-7s and shotgun with a center that's just, hiking the ball. No pass rush, nothing like that. So I was reading a question, and once again, I can't multitask sometimes. And so I'm Brown just had a great show, and here I am just trailing off and forgetting where I am. But that's the next big step. I mean, once he can get to the point where he can defend himself and he can avoid traffic and avoid getting kicked in the leg, he can avoid getting stepped on by offensive linemen, he can avoid a defensive lineman falling at his knees and his ankles. I mean, things are going to happen. You still run the chance of getting hurt. It's football. But that's the thing. I mean, that will be the next steps before we see him, go into to 11-on-11. I will be stunned if there's a scenario where he starts training camp on the PUP list. I don't see how it's possible. He's done way too much. The only way that he could start on the PUP list for training camp is if he fails the physical. And based on what we've seen so far, I do not see how this man would fail a physical. There would have to be a setback of some sort. So I don't think that's going to happen. I would expect that they will take him along fairly slowly. I would not expect that he's going to be just out of the box, 100% go in training camp. Maybe we'll be surprised. This dude surprises at every turn, but I think they're going to want to be fairly cautious and bring him along slowly, and probably not have him back up to 100% until at least there are a few pads into practice for a few practices and the padded practices. I don't think you just want him on the first day of padded practices taking hits and going along. I mean, I think you want to ease him into that, and again, probably have him in I think for quarterbacks that have a red non-contact jersey in training camp, I wouldn't be surprised if he was in that at least at the very beginning, especially in pads. Fat Yankee, how much healthy weight can Josh Simmons put on? How much should he? I mean, I saw a guy today, Fat Yankee, that if this dude had like 4% body fat, I would be stunned. Obviously, he's played heavier. I'm saying what is he listed at right now? Because for the most part, I think these are usually pretty close to their combine weight. He was listed at 310 last year. I mean, that sounds familiar to me as far as what his college weight was. The way that he looked today, I mean, I don't know how he's going to add more body fat, because I mean, he could add it. I just don't know how he's going to do it, because he seems to have a workout program right now that's allergic to body fat. But he was fine at 310. So if he's playing at 300 and he's got the muscle that he's got right now, dude, I mean, that could be scary, because if he's got that, then he's got at least the weight and the base to hold up. I mean, I'd be a little worried about 285 and 290, but if he gets to 300, puts on just a little bit of weight without losing a lot of that muscle that he's got right now, I mean, he's going to be a beast out there. Absolute beast. Tyree, I apologize. Now I may be worried that maybe I missed some other questions, so I'll have to go back and check here real quick. Do you see any new defense coaches standing out? Gosh, I mean, I don't. There really wasn't a lot of turnover on the defensive side. There was a lot more on the offensive side. I know that they've got some new quality control guys, so I'm just going through right now, making sure there's nobody I missed. Terry Braden came back. I guess this is his first year back after being at Nebraska for a little bit. I hear a lot of good things about CJ Cox, is the defensive quality control Bill Walsh fellow. He was, if I'm not remember correctly, I think he was around here a few years ago, and I know he was with Coastal Carolina, I believe, but I've definitely heard, and I believe he played in the league too. Been hearing a lot of good things about CJ Cox. Chris Orr is another defensive quality control coach that's new this year, and I probably too early to say, but there's not a lot of new faces on the defensive side. Most of them are all on the offensive side. All the position coaches are back. You got Matt House is in a different role now, that he's coaching linebackers, the outside linebackers. But then, he kind of reports to Brendan Daly as well. So who has control of the linebackers overall. And it's a little bit of maybe, there's some gamesmanship with titles sometimes. I mean, they give Matt House the title as like a position coach, so they can pay him like a position coach and give him the benefits of position coach, but he may be doing something that's not really a position coach role. So sometimes the titles get a little gray. But yeah, there's not a lot of changes. So, and going back, and I found your original coach. You're talking, with like Chad O'Shea and DeMarco Murray. Really, there hasn't been a lot of. I mean, the defensive coaches is pretty much intact. So, not a lot of waves on that side. Although, like I said, in CJ Cox, Chris Orr, those are a couple of young up and coming guys that I'll be interested to see if there's a future for them in this organization down the road. Especially because you got to figure at some point. I mean, teams are going to steal some guys. I mean, Dave Merritt, Brendan Daly, Joe Cullen all have defensive coordinator credentials. Matt House has been a defensive coordinator before too, in the college level. So you got to think at some point somebody's going to start raiding the staff. Steve Spagnuolo is going to move up or move on. Something's going to happen. You got to have some talent. Although we've seen on the offensive side, sometimes you lose enough guys, and eventually the attrition gets to you. So. Got a couple of more days of OTA, mandatory mini camp left. Wednesday will be a lot like today, same type of practice, media availability. We are supposed to hear from Chris Jones on Wednesday. So cross your fingers that that happens. Andy Reid on Thursday, and we'll hear from additional players on both those days as well. So, and that's it. After that, it will be wrapped up. Chiefs will be coming out with their training camp schedule here pretty soon, but you can work back the calendar and kind of figure out where it's going to be. It's going to be a little bit later this year than past years because the Chiefs do have that later game, and first week is later. Coming on September 13th, it's later than in recent years. This is the latest that the season can start essentially. So it will be. You get a little bit more of a summer break this year, and a little bit more rest, I guess, before we get into the whole training camp thing. But Nick and I will continue to hopefully entertain and inform you. We'll have 41 is the mic. We have not worked out our schedule yet for when we're going to do that. Whether we will do it Wednesday or Thursday, wrapping up mandatory minicamp, or we'll just wait until our usual day of Sunday. But we usually like to try and get you guys up to date on mini camp and OTAs as quick as we can. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up doing it here in the next couple of days, either Wednesday or Thursday. Probably scheduling and coming out on Thursday or Friday. And then, hey, throughout the summer, we'll keep doing the Tuesday night Q&A and answer all your questions, and we will have some special episodes of 41 is the mic coming out throughout the summer as well, and get you all ready for training camp. A couple more questions coming in. Zoo 19, haven't looked at the team's social yet, but does Travis look trim enough? Unfortunately, the team puts too much of a burden on him, so we need to keep him in tip-top shape. I thought he looked, from a glance of what we got today, I thought he looked trim and in shape. I was talking earlier that we really didn't get a whole lot of extended look to really say what kind of football shape he is in, but he looked fine. He looked like Travis Kelce. They do have a clip that they posted tonight, so I think it was only about, it was right before the live stream started, so probably just before 7 o'clock tonight. They did put up a clip on, I know, Twitter at least, and I'm sure probably a couple of other channels of Travis catching a pass. So if you haven't seen that, you can check it out. And talk about Josh Simmons looking great, and and ask about Kelce. Don't get me wrong, Kelce looks fine. There's no one who has the transformation that Josh Simmons had. This dude looks like he can get ready to go in and start wrestling bears or something. This dude looks ripped. So we'll see how that all works out. Everybody have a great night. Thanks for putting up with my idiosyncrasies, my sometimes strange pauses. Thank you to Nick Jacobs for coming in and entertaining us all and dropping his knowledge and his rants and his singing skills. You are all the best. Appreciate everybody, the support that you do. Give us all of the super chatters, ACC 6310. I'm Brown, both of you with several of the super chats. So I'm definitely giving kudos to you, Tyree Love there at the end. Truly appreciate the kind words. And thanks as always to everybody. Let's do it again soon. Have a great week, everyone. And